One song on the charts right now from his new movie Purple Rain, and Prince's movie debut is one of the things we're going to be discussing this week on At the Movies, the movie review program. Joining me here in the balcony is Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune.
And this is Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times. In addition to Purple Rain, we'll also be taking a look at a new family drama from Australia called Careful He Might Hear You. Also, Ingmar Bergman's latest film about a director and two actresses. And we'll also take a closer look at the rock star Prince in our special X-ray segment at the end of the show. But first, Roger begins with a science fiction adventure film called The Philadelphia Experiment.
And you know, this Philadelphia Experiment is one of those things that I've heard about for 10 years, that the Navy made some ship disappear in Philadelphia, just like there are alligators in the sewers, you know,
right.
And the guy that...
Urban legends.
Urban legends. This is kind of a naval yard legend. The Philadelphia Experiment is a time travel movie which starts out in 1943 when the U.S. Navy conducts an experiment that causes a battleship to completely disappear from the Philadelphia Navy Yard. The ship falls into a mysterious time warp, and a couple of the sailors jump overboard into the warp trying to escape, and they end up in Nevada 41 years later, just as the same scientist from that 1943 episode, he's a little balder now, a little more wrinkled, has conducted another time travel experiment that has caused this time a whole town to disappear. So he's making progress, but in the wrong direction. In this scene, the sailors try to figure out what happened.
What's the date?
Date? It's the 17th.
The year?
You kidding? It's 1984. What's going on with you two? Are you on drugs or something?
1984. What about the war?
What war?
The war!
Vietnam?
World War II, Germany and Japan.
What about it?
Who won?
We won. What do you think?
Well, that's great, but unfortunately those sailors are still connected to the past through the time warp and the radioactive molecules in their bodies. And one sailor is zapped right into thin air.
Come on, let's get that in. Clear for the back door coming in.
Bamboo bag coming in. Somebody downgrade.
Try and restrain him so he doesn't hurt himself.
What the hell's going on here?
Get back, get back, get back.
Unbelievable.
Doesn't leave much for the autopsy, does it?
There's so much wrong with that scene. The reaction shots of those guys looking like this. Someone just disappeared in front of them.
Oh, my hand.
They should be going like this.
And meanwhile, lightning bolts are going through the room, and nobody notices them because the lightning bolts were put in with special effects later after the scene was filmed. That was Michael Pare is the surviving sailor there with a strange hand that's going to glow in a second. And Nancy Allen is the girl who is the only person to believe his story. Well, time warp movies always confuse me because I'm sitting there thinking, if she's 41 years in his future, then if he goes back in time, what does he do? Grow old and wait for her and then come along and say, would you mind marrying a man that's 41 years older than you are, but we used to be contemporaries? Or what if she goes back in time with him? Does that mean that she was never born in the first place? Well, questions like that are just a little too subtle for the Philadelphia Experiment, which turns Pare into a human cannonball and catapults him into the middle of the time vortex, hoping that he can find the missing battleship somewhere there in the middle of hyperspace, turn off the generators, and stop that 1943 experiment. And of course, since this is 1984, we know that he did. Right. This movie does a little time traveling of its own. It feels exactly like a low-budget 1953 science fiction movie that fell into a vortex at the box office and turned up years later, out of date and very confused. The movie is saying, what year is this? Who won the Oscar?
How are movies made? That's what the director is saying. How do you make a good movie?
This is amazing.
It is a shockingly bad film. And let's start right at the beginning where, I was laughing when this happened. The experiment goes wrong, right, within the context of the movie, because they make the ship disappear. They're only trying to make it invisible to the German radar. Why doesn't somebody immediately say, hey, we've got a fabulous weapon here. We can make our ships disappear. Let's aim it at the German
and
ship.
make all of their ships disappear.
War is over.
Okay, I'll give you my favorite moment. The guy is standing on the deck of the battleship in the middle of the time vortex, right? He has turned off the generators. You got all of this electricity going around. He takes off the helmet of his spacesuit, throws it away, and then says, I'm going back to meet that girl, and jumps back into the vortex. Now, If I were going to jump back into the vortex, I think I'd leave my helmet on.
And then the reaction shot of the two horses.
Oh, that was
in the during a love scene.
Boy and girl kiss, and the two horses go.
Horrible film, a cult possibility. Coming up next at the movies, one of the nation's leading rock stars makes his feature film debut.
The trouble with the average bargain trash bag is that what goes in doesn't always stay in. Now this is the Glad 3-ply trash bag, the strong Glad 3-ply trash bag, made of Stress Flex plastic. So advanced, so strong, it really fights punctures because it stretches and stretches instead of breaking. The Glad 3-ply, made of Stress Flex. After all, what goes in ought to stay in.
Honey, do these socks go with this shirt?
Oh, static cling again.
Get the only lemon-freshened detergent for a clean that breaks the static barrier. Fab with full-strength fabric softener.
Full-strength fabric softener plus full-strength detergent in Fab? Fabulous.
No more staticky socks.
I'm really clean.
And feel how soft.
Lemony fresh, too.
Get a clean that breaks the static barrier.
Most fabric, we're glad there's full-strength fabric softener in you.
I love children. Anybody who's going to run a nursery school for 26 years and better. Lately, though, my arthritis... When plain patty cake gets to be painful, it's time for Anacin.
Regular strength pain relievers stop at 650 milligrams, but Anacin gives you more medicine for temporary relief of minor arthritis pain. 800 milligrams.
Arthritis isn't about to come between me and my children.
Anacin. More medicine.
For getting Monday's spaghetti sauce out of Wednesday's laundry, Janet Fox, you've earned your stripes. For taking that ink spot and writing it off, Barbara Ford, you've earned your stripes. And so has Clorox Pre-Wash. No pre-wash works harder to break a stain's grip on fabric and pull it out in the wash than the one that's earned the name Clorox. A name that means clean. In the fight against stains, earn your stripes with Clorox Pre-Wash.
Purple Rain is an exciting new film representing the film debut of the rock star Prince, who hasn't achieved the same level of public recognition as, say, Michael Jackson, but the same talent is there, that's for sure. Prince just plays outside of the pop musical mainstream. He's more of a hard rocker mixed with blues and jazz influences. And in Purple Rain, Prince plays a character pretty much like himself, a young musician from Minneapolis who is cut off from everything in his life except his music. But then a beautiful young woman walks into his life and he romances her while she asks him to help her with her career.
Will you help me?
Nope.
Pardon me?
Nope. Want to know why?
Nope.
Because you wouldn't pass the initiation.
What initiation?
Well, for starters, you have to purify yourself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka.
What?
You have to purify yourself in Lake Minnetonka.
That's not Lake Minnetonka, is what he wanted to tell her. A little game being played there. Apollonia Cotero is her name, and she's as impressive in this film as he is. Purple Rain is about their relationship, and there's a terrific love triangle in this film between the two of them and another male musician, a very hip character played by another real-life rock performer, Morris Day, and I think he's an excellent actor, and I'd like to see him do another movie sometime. And all the while, Prince performs his music in a local club, music that has a lot to do with pain and self-discovery.
I never meant to call you when you sorrow. I never meant to call you
And when he works out with his guitar, you can see a lot of Jimi Hendrix in his work. And his performances don't come across as just mindless music videos in this film. They work dramatically within this movie. A story of a young kid who expresses his rage and confusion artistically. And some of his rage has to do with his family background, which includes a father who's a wife beater. I thoroughly enjoyed Purple Rain. A lot of fresh, young talent in this film. Very good.
I thought it was the best rock film since Pink Floyd The Wall. I thought it was really good. I thought Prince was good. Apollonia Cotero. I'm only a human being. Can I be human for a second? I thought she was electrifying. I thought that their scenes together were the most erotic love scenes that I've seen in a movie in a long time. I thought she was good on stage. His music is good. The photography is good. The way that they balance that fantastic stage presence with those intense little vignettes that push the story ahead, each one not too long, makes it into a really interesting movie.
I think this film, I'll go even a little further, I think this film ought to be studied for the way it uses music dramatically. In other words, there has been this whole thing of these little insert music videos, which are mindless. They're just snapshots, and you just throw them in the middle of the film, and everyone sort of gives up and doesn't try. This film is very sophisticated in the way it has these. There's no dialogue. They are music videos, I suppose, by definition, but they move the story along. They're adding new information about his family background, about his little secret lair, his little hideout, the way that's introduced non-verbally. He doesn't say, "I have this little hideout, I want to take you to it."
But there it is.
It's done there, and it's very, very well directed.
One of the best combinations I've ever seen of rock music and dramatic information. And we're going to get back to Prince and our X-ray at the end of the show. But coming up right next at the movies, a little boy is trapped between love and money.
I had my own.
What's going on? Why is he shut out in the hall?
Hello, George.
We don't ever shut him out.
Tuesday night at 7. Through the German ranks of World War II comes a private battle between Field Marshal Erwin Rommel and Adolf Hitler.
Maybe I've been better if I had replaced you altogether.
A plot to assassinate the Fuhrer's plan. But the price for treason will be paid.
Choice to die now or later.
James Mason and Leo G. Carroll star in The Desert Fox, Tuesday night at 7 on Channel 9.
For the baby in your life, the Baby's Room is having its annual store-wide sale up to 40% off on all cribs and accessories. Stop in the Baby's Room and choose from over 60 cribs on display, thousands in stock for immediate delivery. Lay away for as long as you like. The Baby's Room has quality and value. This beautiful Jenny Lind ensemble in a rich maple finish. Each piece just $119.95. The Baby's Room is located in Lombard, Madison, Arlington Heights, and Chicago on North Lincoln Avenue. For the baby in your life.
It's delicious, it's delightful, it's DeLeo's Restaurant, where you'll choose from a never-ending array of tempting lamb, sea, and pasta entrees. How about tender rack of lamb, succulent Chateaubriand, Dover sole almondine, whole Maine lobster, or DeLeo's famous prime rib of beef? Ah, there's more. Top entertainment for your listening and dancing pleasure. For luncheon, dinner, or banquet information, call 774-6900. DeLeo's, Central at Elston.
We asked for and got an additional $500,000 in finance money. It means tomorrow at Liberty Chevrolet, you can choose from over 50 new cars and trucks, all at 10.9%. Like Chevettes at just $108 a month. Now that's real value. At only $199 a month, you can choose a hot new Camaro, and that's exciting. Also get 10.9% fixed for 48 months on Cavaliers, Celebrities, Citations, trucks, even sleek Corvettes and plush van conversions. But do it tomorrow morning at Liberty Chevrolet in Downers Grove. 10.9%, we can do it. Yes, we can.
Our next movie is called Careful He Might Hear You, and it's the story of a lonely little Australian boy whose mother dies in childbirth, whose father disappears to go prospecting in the gold fields, and the kid gets caught up in the middle of a tug-of-war between his two aunts. Now, one of the aunts truly loves him, but she doesn't think she can give him the right advantages in life, and the other aunt is rich, possessive, and domineering. The little boy loves his poor aunt, who begs him in this scene to keep a secret for her.
We don't want Vanessa to know that George is out of work.
Why?
Because it might upset her.
But if she asks...
Well, we'll just say that he's working at home.
But that's a fib.
Well, look, he's working in the garden, so it's not really a fib.
But if she asks...
Well, you don't have to tell her everything. I want to ask you something, Pierce. How are Lila and George?
All right.
Does George have a bad cold?
No, he's working in the garden.
That's nice. He can't be sick then.
No, he's working in the garden.
Is that what Lila told you? I don't like secrets between us, P.S. Look at me, P.S. Has George lost his job?
That's Wendy Hughes in an interesting performance as rich Aunt Vanessa. The problem with Carefully Might Hear You is that Aunt Vanessa, not the little boy, is really the most interesting character in this movie. In fact, that little boy is so quiet and so withdrawn and so traumatized, and sometimes even, if I may say so, so dense, that we never get very involved with his unhappiness, especially since a lot of the crucial misunderstandings in this movie depend on his absolute genius for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. We're sitting there and saying, shut up, don't say that. We're whispering advice to this kid, but he just steamrolls right ahead, getting himself into more and more trouble. In a way, he's too little to know that he's doing it, but still, we're old enough to be bored by the fact that he is. Carefully Might Hear You is well photographed and well crafted. That's the trademark of movies from Australia. But it didn't really reach me emotionally.
It reached me for a while because the kid also is in a trauma state right now. He's being really pulled apart. His mother's dead as well. And I did it for a while. Then it did become repetitious, and you think that that's all that is there. Then there is the one other character, Vanessa, who's interesting, and her whole sexual history is sort of an interesting element, and that's brought out, and then that's repeated. So the film really doesn't have any place to go. It starts out child trauma, woman with problems, and then it just sort of falls off the table.
Well, at the end, one of the ways that it falls off the table is when it goes into court. And so the judge says to the little boy, well, come into my chambers and we'll talk. And the kid says exactly the wrong thing. And this goes back, in a way, to my old favorite, The Idiot Plot, in which the plot would be over and the movie would be over, and there wouldn't be a movie if everybody didn't act like an idiot. And in this movie, which is based on real life, in which I guess people do act like idiots, everybody does the wrong thing, and it gets real.
Well, we've always said that the movie should be better edited than real life. After making Fanny and Alexander, supposedly his last feature film, Ingmar Bergman, the great Swedish filmmaker, did not retire. No, he made another movie, one we'll review right now. He made it for television, but it is being shown in movie theaters in this country. It's called After the Rehearsal, and it's the story of a world-weary theater director who is tired of his actresses constantly coming on to him sexually. He seemingly only wants to direct them. That's what he says. And yet we're not so sure about that, because I think Ingmar Bergman is poking a sharp stick also at himself and at his surrogate character, the director. After the Rehearsal is a short but tricky little film. In this scene, you'll see three women. An older actress, who the director is no longer interested in, also a 12-year-old girl, and a 23-year-old actress who also would like a relationship with the director.
Gå nu, jag kommer säkert. Rakel. Rakel.
Så är det alltid. Springa efter henne och ropa hennes namn. Och så lögner och fruktlösa försoningar. Och så dåligt samvete och rädsla och undertryckta förbannelser. Och så medkänsla. Allt är detsamma.
Now, what's tricky is whether those two actresses, the one we saw in the long shot at the very beginning, are mother and daughter, because the one is named Anna and the other actress says she has a daughter named Anna. And then, who is the little girl? Well, I think that's the young actress as a 12-year-old. Surely that continuous shot would indicate that. But maybe the three women are in some spiritual way three stages of the same woman. generic woman, all looking for a father figure and yet all standing in judgment of men. I think After the Rehearsal is only a minor Bergman film, even with all those insights. It's very good at expressing the world weariness of this director, but it is not particularly fresh for Bergman at expressing the middle-age crisis of a woman, which he's done so well in the past. And as notes on direction and acting, I really didn't find its insights particularly exciting or fresh, so a mixed review from me.
I think I admired it more than you did. I saw it as sort of leaving aside all the interpretations about who the actresses are and so forth, which is one of those puzzles that Bergman likes to set for people. I saw it as more of a confessional, and I think that what he's confessing at the end of a long career is that oftentimes he let his art and his ego as expressed in his art run roughshod over all of the women in his life, his daughters, his mistresses, his wives, and so forth. And the crucial moment in the movie comes, first of all, when the younger actress says, "I'm pregnant," and he says, "How can you, a young actress given the role of your entire life, get pregnant and spoil my play?" Then she says, "But I had an abortion." And then he thinks, "But how can I think that my play is more important than a human life?" And so at the end of the film, I think what Bergman is saying through this character is that oftentimes he put his life ahead of his art, and now he feels bad about that.
I really wonder if he does, and I wonder now. What do you really think he does? See, this is one of the tricky parts of this film, because it seems to be attacking himself, but really this guy is a master. I mean, and that he's put on the screen, and so it's a little glib for me. I would like to have seen this film done at a longer length, in more intense and a bigger project. I think he may have shortchanged himself on an important subject with a little essay, left-handed essay.
Well, he always leaves you, as he does in so many films, with a lot to talk about as to what he really meant and what it all really stands for. And we can talk about that maybe for the next 6 or 7 years and then come back with our report. Next at the movies, a special X-ray segment about Prince, who was great, we already said so, in Purple Rain. But how does his future look compared to other rock and pop movie actors like Jagger, Boy, and Christopherson?
Okay, what's so great about summer?
It's hot, she's not. Definitely Doritos high five. Can drive, definitely Doritos. Doritos. Move fast, act fast. New speed, heartbeat, definitely. Now, right now. That's it, Doritos.
So, nacho cheese Doritos brand tortilla chips.
Definitely.
In a world where personal service is rare, there is an airline, Jet America, that makes you feel at home when you're flying to the West Coast. With comfortable surroundings, friendly, helpful people, low fares and convenient schedules to Los Angeles or Oakland. Fly home, fly Jet America, and discover how nice a little attention can be. Call Jet America or your travel agent.
Yeah, what a send-off.
You let your joy show in the things you do, so let our joy flow. Watch that shine come through, you'll see your flakes glow. People notice them too, our joy's a reason.
Watch, other leading brands can dry, leaving dirty-looking spots. Only Joy's Lemon Fresh formula lets dishes dry clean, practically spot-free, down to the shine.
Our joy's a reason, let your joy show.
Burger King presents a breakfast challenge to muffin lovers, the Burger King Croissant Sandwich. See if you can resist our grade A eggs covered with melted cheese, our sizzling bacon, tender ham, or sausage. Come on, muffin lovers, take just a nibble of the most delicious breakfast sandwich imaginable.
Aren't you hungry? Aren't you hungry?
The Burger King Croissant Sandwich. Even for a confirmed muffin lover, it's love at first bite.
Aren't you hungry for Burger King now?
We've already said that Prince is very good in his movie debut in Purple Rain, but what kind of a movie career can he look forward to? You can make a whole list of singers who became movie stars, from Crosby and Sinatra to Jagger, Boy, and Christopherson, and at one point or another they've all had to decide what comes first, singing or acting. Mick Jagger tried serious acting for the first time in the 1970 movie Performance, where he played a criminal outcast. David Bowie did the usual concert films, but he also played serious roles like his prisoner of war in Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence. Chris Christopherson is probably the most successful of the modern actor-singers. Here he is in 1976's A Star is Born. And now, what about Prince? Purple Rain is a skillful, exciting, personal film, but can he play other roles, other kinds of people? I think he can. I think he has the stuff. I thought he was very strong in the movie's dramatic scenes. He was willing to take chances. I mean, how many big rock stars would play a character who still lives at home? And yet, it worked.
I think he's very good, too. And I think basically what we're doing in this X-ray is just saying to this guy, do more. I read in his press notices that he may want to direct his next picture, and I'd say, wait. Give us another performance before he's tried directing. Let's recap our reactions to the films in the show. Both Roger and I hated the sci-fi film The Philadelphia Experiment, 2 downturned thumbs, 2 thumbs up for Purple Rain featuring Prince, and 2 negative votes for Careful He Might Hear You, the Australian family drama, and we split on Ingmar Bergman's film After the Rehearsal.
So that's it for this week. Next week, a special show on movies that change the movies. And until then, we'll see you at the movies.